Thank you, Eladio. Now we will go for a few stories. One of the stories is about 100 years of development in a territory of Switzerland where the Swiss national parks were formed. I would like to invite Ruedi Haller from the Swiss National Parks, Head of Research. Ruedi.
Where is now the micro? Thank you to be invited to talk about creating wilderness in the Swiss Alps a couple of years ago. If you are not familiar with it, doesn't work. This is the small piece in the central of the Alps, embedded today with a lot of protected areas around. And as a manager of an old national park, when we talk about wilderness today, it comes to my mind the different concepts you have. Everybody in this room has his own concept. We had it also 100 years ago. But 20,000 years ago, wilderness in the Swiss Alps looked as it looks now in Antarctica. Is this the wilderness we are looking for? The pioneers, we have never ever in the last 20,000 years, we have protected nature. Until the second half of the 19th century, when industrialization showed us that we are to start to destroy the earth. That's the point. And that was also the point of these pioneers in Switzerland and also in Austria and in Germany. They wanted to create areas where nature is on its own. They created an experiment. Create an area where humans are excluded. Create an area where natural processes should have the lead. Imagine I have the best job of the world. I'm employed to do nothing. That's one half of my job. And it's a very, very difficult job because it's not human's nature to do nothing. People, they knew it's not wilderness what they protect, what they have protected 100 years ago. It was, this is too fast, for example. Who is doing my presentation? They knew it was heavily used by industry, by agriculture, by forestry. That's an image from 1946 from this pager, and you can clearly see the fence line between the forest and the open pasture. In this context, they had expectations. All previous changes of the original state over centuries, the long-term effects on the hunters, fishermen, foresters, agriculturists, shepherds and mowers through fertilizers, soil break, moving and grazing will disappear over time, and the old original community of life will be restored. A great wilderness experiment will be performed there. 100 years ago. It's the same as today. So they started to release nature. They didn't act on any small scale. They didn't act on any large scale as well. They had three main goals. Nature conservation, that's half of my duty. Do nothing, really nothing. No biodiversity. It's let natural process and observe and document what changes. That was the concept. And the third one, this was influenced by the upcoming national parks in the United States. They took over certain parts, but for example, not research, to inform people about nature. And this is still the three goals of the Swiss National Park today. The first thing they did was action. They introduced ibexes, so they blamed their own concept. And I brought a short film about this time. Maybe if you look for the last 10 years, you will find yourself in one of these images as well. Should be a sound as well. So, what is the result after 100 years? The first generation of researchers, they had to learn everything is much slower than expected. We have today about 355, not about, exactly counted, we are Swiss, exactly counted 355 ibexes in the Swiss National Park. But what is more important, there are many, many ibexes in the Swiss Alps and the Alps to the mind of people to say we need half for nature. But as geographer, I tell you, it's not enough to have half. You have to have half at the right place. So create a national park is one thing. We were successful over 100 years. It was it is the core home of many of the species, like chamois. But the key thing is that we still manage also wilderness areas. So education is one of the key tasks. We still work on it, and we are not finished. They were old men creating the national park, mainly. The team has grown. The way is not finished after 100 years. We are going to the next century, and I'll thank you for your attention. Thank you.